Okay, so basically I've done this carbon sketch, this carbon transfer, and so now I'm just going to go over these lines with some black ink, some permanent ink, and I'm just going to trace these lines. So it's going to be pretty fluid, don't overthink it. It can be pretty scraggly, pretty basic if you want, or really complex. And just cover all of these lines, and then we can paint some watercolor into it. So I'm going to show you guys just some like what I would do for applying watercolor. So if you look on these reference sheets, like number 2 here, so what I do, and of course these are just the way I do things, like every artist does things differently. So I'm just kind of sharing my process, right? So you can kind of interpret it, take it little bits if you need to. But basically I build in some color puddles in the background first. So you see on this page on number 2, you've got like this line drawing, and then there's a little bit of color building around it, right? So you've already done these line drawings on the paper here with like the permanent ink. And then so basically what I would do is, you know, take one of these bigger brushes and some water, and it doesn't matter what color you're kind of working with here. You just kind of get some water in there. It's going to kind of activate this paint a little bit. And just kind of get like really runny little puddle of color. And then basically, I'm just going to kind of step back so you guys can see it. So really it's kind of like painting around the outside, kind of like establishing like some background. And I mean, this isn't, you know, like if I was painting a turtle, there's no reason why the turtle can't be like pink, you know, or you can't do like a blue flower. So there's no rules here. Again, take this all as instruction. You are going to have like a little piece to take with you, but you know, these are ideas that you can then continue on your own time after. So don't be too concerned about making something so particularly amazing right off the bat today. Maybe you will, I don't know. Everyone's at, you know, different kind of stages in their art practice. But I like to remind people that, you know, it's the process of just kind of getting paint on paper. Like that's like the satisfying bit, right? So that should be priority 1. A good result is just priority 2. It's like a bonus. It's like therapy, right? Just like have a good time doing this. So my sample here, this isn't a fully drawn image or anything, right? But I'm just showing you how I'm kind of working around the lines. So that's basically following on the page here, you know, step 2. Because I like to kind of structure in the little background color first, and then like your line drawing is kind of popping forward a little bit. So if you guys want to play around with that, in your palettes you've got a bunch of different colors. And you know, grab one of the bigger brushes on your table. And again, don't concern yourself if it's a weird color for what the image is, and don't overthink it. You know, feel free to make a brown owl, or let's see, what would be wacky? Like a pink frog would be pretty cool, something like that, right? And I'll come around and kind of give you guys some individual little guidance as well. And you can brush different colors on top if you want and kind of do like a little bit of layering, that's fine. There's no rules. That's the best way to think of it. Because if you screw up, there's more paper. So, and if you don't screw up, it's going to look great. So really, there's nothing to lose. And basically just kind of do the same thing you did with the background, but start getting like just some like basic color kind of washed into the main image. I know some of you guys are already doing that, that's great. So, you know, you're just kind of working really thin, again, just like lots of water. And it's the same thing, there's no rules, you're just kind of filling in. It's almost like filling in the lines, right? Like almost like a paint by number sort of thing. And basically, you know, I would work in like multiple layers. So you're kind of doing like a main base kind of color first, right? So this example, I'm just gonna set so you guys can all see it. You know, if I'm just painting kind of green, I'm not overly concerned about specific details, because once this dries, there's gonna be these cool little shapes that naturally present themselves, and we're gonna trace over those with some ink. So it's kind of like setting up these fun little sections for next layers. So this isn't like a super super regimented technique or anything. It's just kind of the way I like to work. And a little bit of fun and just a little bit of, again, not like overthinking it, just kind of filling in the gaps is a good way to go. So I'm just kind of getting this flat, kind of like green color on this random shape, for example. You might want to get like a little bit of color variety, but it doesn't have to be anything specific because this is still just a base layer for something else on top. So you don't need to concern yourself too much about it looking precise or finished or polished or anything like that. And just kind of have fun with it. So it still looks, you know, rather flat, rather basic, but that's intentional, right? So we're going to get more kind of details on top of that. So feel free to just kind of play around with that. And if at any point, you know, you want to do more, you want to work on the second one, you can. If you're like really quick and efficient and you're getting ahead, that's okay. Or you can just kind of keep layering in more and more color on top of this one. If it spills out of the lines, that's totally cool as well. And basically, I'm just going to fill this whole thing in, and then it's going to sit and dry for a couple of minutes, and then we can kind of build on top of that after. Okay, so what we just did before is we added some really deep, you know, color sections to the background, and what we've really done is just added some new paint layers here. And you can see how there's kind of separation lines. And what I'm going to do now is really draw over those and kind of call those out and work with them. It's almost like drawing a little topographical map of sorts. And in essence, we're just using the previous layers to inform new layers. And what we're really doing here is just really sectioning things off. It's giving it that really kind of graphic novel feel to it, and just making it really stylistic and visually interesting. And then by doing this, we're just setting up for more future paint layers if we want to keep going, or little highlights here and there, but really it's just to break up the image plane and just make it look very, very interesting overall.